Good afternoon everybody, it's your pal Martin the Millet here, hope you're going well. Today's topic is all about what was I doing on this day 5 years ago. And I'll tell you what I was doing on this day 5 years ago. I was in Royal Melbourne Hospital in Australia on a drip, all because I had this really bad illness. Now, I gotta tell you all, the cold and flu and influenza kills people just like that. But in my case, I had more than just the cold and flu. I had vomiting and diarrhea. I was really sick due to the amount of stress the stupid agency job in Melbourne that Pinnacle people put me through, cancelling all my shifts because there were people in management who were dumbasses assigning me tasks and then cancelling the day later. And a lot of the people that made me work with were just morons. They wanted me to go to a private school in Melbourne and clean the kitchens. And I thought of saying, hey, I did that for 5 years, why can't you just send a refugee to do it and get me to work at the MCG? I just thought it was just really ridiculous how I moved to Melbourne at the time of football season, and this company that hired me to work football games in New South Wales can't hire me to do that type of work in Melbourne. So as I'm getting a bit sick, with the cold and the flu, I'm just starting to feel like really awful, so I book an appointment to see this Dr. Dudu in Munday Ponds. And she says to me, vomiting and diarrhea isn't like symptoms of having like the flu. But the horrible thing is, I can't keep anything down. I drink water, I throw it up. I eat food, I throw it up. I'm actually just, it's the same type of illness you had when if, you got food poisoning. You couldn't keep anything down. But I didn't have anything like that. I just basically had the same types of symptoms. So I remember the 7th of September 2016, I was like so weak. I called my mom. My mom was like, Martin, you better go to a hospital and get a cortisone injection. Because unlike you, who you don't have cortisol-like issues, your body naturally produces cortisol when you're stressed. In my situation, my body doesn't produce enough of it. So if I get really sick, I have to take extra cortisol medication. But if my body is like chucking up my medication, I have to go to a hospital and get an injection. And so I took a taxi down to Royal Melbourne Hospital, checked myself and I said, look, I need to have a cortisol injection ASAP, this is an emergency. They ushered me into the ward, it was a ward, I think it was more like a surgeon. I put a gown on, and then this doctor came in and he gave me like 2 shots of cortisol and he hooked me up to an IV drip. I was like severely dehydrated. I basically, I couldn't keep anything down. So when you've been throwing up and all, you need to be on an IV drip, and that IV drip, along with my cortisol medication, it really helped me save my life, because I thought to myself, look, I'm too young to die at 30. I don't want to be going out to the pearly gates and see, Cliff Burton and Jackie Collins and David Bowie and Lemmy. I was too young for that. So I remember just sitting in the hospital and I saw myself man, I'm really fed up with my Melbourne life. I need to go back to Sydney because this life is really making me sick. It was making me sick because living in that house in a room with 10 other people, a shared room, 10 bedrooms. 10 beds in a bedroom. And my mum would say to me, the reason why you're getting sick is because, you're sharing rooms with other people and you shouldn't be doing that. So my mum helped me arrange to move into a house in Winston Hills for the rest of my life in Sydney. So I remember I checked out of the hospital on this day 5 years ago, and the horrible thing was, I was on the dole at the time and I was still working, and these idiots at a job network provider, they were wanting me to attend these appointments, and I kept on telling them, I'm sick, I'm ill, here's my medical conditions. And worst of all, they tried to send me to a job interview at Crown Casino, which I deeply rejected, because I had to deal with some bullies at Crown Casino who would say really bad things to me, even though I'm not that type of person. And I even threatened violence against these people at Crown Casino. I basically said, look, if you called me that in a country like Mogadishu and Somalia, I kick the shit out of you. So, I left Melbourne like 2 weeks later. But the funny thing, before I left Melbourne was I won my plane ticket to Hong Kong. And I left Hong Kong 2 months after my stay at Royal Melbourne Hospital. So, you know, as I'm flying away from Australia to escape, to get to Malaysia, get to Hong Kong, I leave behind, you know, the less than 4 months I had back in Australia, and I've not been back to my country of birth since then. And so, these are kind of like near-death experiences, a lot of, that, you know, you and I are going to have to deal with later on in life. I've had other near-death experiences, like I was almost hit by a car when I was 11, I got punched out in Birmingham a couple months after I moved there. I've had, like, you know, like, I nearly lost vision in my right eye earlier this year when I actually sprayed chemicals in it. And I thought, oh my god, if I don't get to an eye hospital, I'm going to lose sight of my right eye, even though my right eye is feeling damaged. So, anyway, just take good care of your health. You know, that's the important thing. If you don't take good care of your health, you're going to end up in a hospital, tied to an IV drip, and worst of all, like, you won't be able to keep anything down. Anyway, I'm Martin the Millhead. I'm over and out.